Here's the part that surprises most men, right? Is when you start focusing on safety instead of sex, sex actually becomes possible again. Because intimacy isn't built from need, it's built from safety. And when safety comes first, desire says, ooh, I have room to party. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Sex After Kids podcast. I'm excited for the rest of this little mini series, and I'm going to be using a bit more gendered language than I typically do, and that's just because our jumping off point was the interview with Dan Doty, where we were specifically talking about the experience of people who are men, who experience manhood, who in this, post-father place, and also in the perimenopausal space, who are feeling totally alone in the bedroom. Like sex has become this weird and painful battleground, and they're just at a complete loss as to what to do. I would say some of this is still relevant to high libido partners who are women or who have vulvas, but we're also speaking about some things that are more traditionally, stereotypically, I guess, landing in the world of men and penis owners. We're going to talk about pornography in the last episode and pornography use. So just listen with that caveat for the next 3 episodes. And if you're a woman, if you're the lower libido partner listening in, I still invite you to listen, because the whole point here, what I'm going for, is to help your partner understand themselves a little bit better and what might be guiding the pressure that they are inadvertently or very advertently putting on you. And also to help you understand their perspective, right? So like I talk to guys every day who are in this situation, and I don't think that most women, wives, lower libido partners understand this. There's this feeling that he just wants to get laid. He just wants to put it in me. He just wants to nut, whatever it is. And that's just so not what I'm hearing on the other side of my conversations. So let's dive into it, right? Today we are talking about why he keeps trying. Why do we keep showing up to this over and over and over again? And why is it not working? Okay. So what's our starting off point here, right? So many times when I'm talking to guys, they're really in this place of, she's told me to stop asking. She's told me that I'm pressuring her, that I'm making it worse. And I'm just trying to get my partner back. I'm just trying to get a sense of connection back. I feel so lonely. I feel unwanted. I feel like I'm just here to offer a paycheck and lift heavy things. And I don't know how else to go about creating the connection that I want in my relationship. And if that hits hard, like this is your invitation to just take a breath with me, to invite yourself to like admit out loud that it really hurts. Because the guys that I talk to, it does. And just like women can feel taken for granted, just like women can feel like, what? I'm just here to be a hole you stick it in and a person who does chores. Men can feel like they're only valued for their money and what they like do in the relationship. They don't feel necessarily like they're loved for who they are, appreciated for who they are and the company that they offer. And really at the heart of that is both partners feeling the same way as a result of these kind of like traditional gender roles and these habits, these patterns, these dances that we get into. So for my higher libido partners, for my dads, like I want you to hear you aren't broken, you aren't creepy, you're not some sex crazed idiot. Your sex drive is not bad or wrong. In my view, you are reaching out for connection in the only way that you know how, in the only way maybe that you've ever been taught. But what is happening between you isn't necessarily about horniness, though that is an element. And I don't want to discredit or downplay the frustration that a person with a high sex drive or the person that like just really gets excited about playing naked with their partner can feel when that isn't happening. And often underneath it all, though, is really a deeper desire for feeling a sense of worth in your relationship, feeling a sense of connection, and a fear that you don't matter to your partner anymore, right? So look, I get it. You've been told to stop asking. So you try to hold yourself back. You tell yourself you'll give her space. Who knows how the fuck long you're supposed to give her space, a couple days, a couple years, until her libido just decides to come back, right? And every time you reach out, it just lands wrong. You rub her shoulders and she tenses, or you kiss her neck and she shrugs off. You get a bit hoping, or there's maybe runway for a date night and you just wake up feeling rejected, or you talk yourself out of trying again. So you're like looking to read the room, you're looking for the conditions to change, and you get excited, but you talk yourself out of it because you've been rejected so often. And you kind of get to the point where you don't even know what's worse, trying and being turned down, or not trying and essentially feeling invisible. Like kind of this like get the fuck out of my way vibe from your partner where you're just like, okay, I will just be a ghost in our home. And I find that this can also end up in a situation where people will bottle up their feelings. They'll act fine. You'll tell yourself you don't really need it anyway, but the pain kind of has to go somewhere. And I find I was in this like grade 8, personal development day ages ago, and they talk about like the balloon and your balloon of feelings getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you don't express them, that balloon eventually like deflates or like spits out on people. And so that can happen in your energy in the sense that you get a no and she can just tell you're pissed, frustrated, annoyed, sad, whatever it is, even though you haven't said a word. It can look like an edge in your tone when you can reply, or like an eye roll. It can look like a passive aggressive comment, or it can look like a snap, an emotional outburst, which creates more pressure, which backfires on you and just gets you even worse into the spiral, this merry-go-round of avoidance that I talk about. And often what will happen for your female partner is she's worried you're going to make a move because she's worried if she says no. She's not worried that you're going to be, that she can't say no. She's worried that she's going to have to deal with a big reaction or fallout if you say no. And I know this isn't right. I know it doesn't feel good. I know that it's not the thing to do. And you're also human and you're hurting and you don't have the right tools to deal with that rejection. But it just keeps you going in this same pattern, in this same dance, I guess. Okay, so what is kind of the old way here? The old way, really, in my mind, is that you are reaching for connection over and over and over with the one strategy that you know how, which is to make bids for sex. Whether it's by jokingly winging your dick in front of her, whether it's by like going in for the romantic move, whether it's like trying to plan the over-the-top sexy date night, you're like, connection, connection, connection. I'm asking for connection, but you're only using one strategy to do that. And it's just creating pressure. And pressure is creating shutdown, even if that's not your intention, right? You are trying to you're putting all this effort into saying, hey, remember us before kids? Hey, remember us before Perry? Hey, remember our relationship? Do you remember me? And instead, it's just coming across as, fuck me, fuck me. Would you have sex with me? Would you have sex with me? It's having the opposite effect. So every time we reach physically before that emotional safety is rebuilt, it feels like pressure, even if our hearts are in the right place. But here's the problem. Every time you reach physically before emotional safety is rebuilt, it feels like pressure, even if your heart is in the right place. And when she pulls away, it just confirms your worst fear. I don't matter anymore. See, it wasn't going to work. Now you're both hurting, and neither of you knows how to stop this loop. So how do we shift this, right? It's not that your reaching is wrong. It's that your nervous systems have built a pattern. So for her, touch has become a transaction. Her body is literally bracing before you've even tried. Her nervous system remembers all the moments when a hand on her shoulder meant he wants sex. So she just tenses. She's not rejecting you in a way. Her body is trying to protect her. This is particularly true if she has engaged in duty sex and like caved and had sex she didn't really want with you, where then created like a negative experience. And also, even if you have the most amazing sex life or had the most amazing sex life and everything in your relationship is positive, if sex is painful for her, if it's not a wonderful, yummy place her body wants to go, the armor is going to come up. And that's her body, her fear, her nervous system trying to protect her. We have to find a way to work through the shield, because we can't just push through it bust through it. We have to meet it first. That means slowing down. That means attuning to what's underneath. I think the other piece we want to acknowledge is your nervous system is at play here as well. Your nervous system is almost already expecting rejection, which means you might try things that are over the top. You might go really direct. You might say, fuck it, and try whatever you can because you feel like nothing has been working for you. And instead, those strategies just shut her down because it's immature, it's annoying, it's just not the vibe, I guess, is what I would say. So when her body can genuinely feel that your touch isn't a demand, then the shield can soften. When her body starts to feel like touch from you can be a pleasurable experience that comes without pressure, the shield will soften. And when sex becomes something that you both can meet each other in with pleasure and safety, then her shield will soften even more, right? We want her nervous system to go, maybe I can relax here. Here's the part that surprises most men, right? Is when you start focusing on safety instead of sex, sex actually becomes possible again. Because intimacy isn't built from need, it's built from safety. And when safety comes first, desire says, ooh, I have room to party. So perfect example of this would be one of my clients who did the Roommates to Romance challenge. And two things that she really learned out of this. This is a lesbian couple, ironically, for this episode that I worked with. The higher libido partner learned how much lack of safety there was for her partner around sex. Not necessarily as it pertained to her in their partnership, but just in general. And after implementing these small strategies to create safety, there was a way higher sense of connection, which is going to start to pave the roadway or create kind of the runway back to sex for this couple. So you could also say kind of when you stop reaching for just her body and you start meeting her nervous system where it's at, everything can change. So here's what most guys don't realize. The more rejected you feel, the less regulated your body becomes. So you're in fight or flight too. You're just in a different version of it. And that dysregulation makes your bid come off as maybe intense or silly, even if you mean for connection. I want you to think of this as almost like, especially if you've been rejected a lot, you get into like, there's a nervous energy, which is not a grounded energy. So it's less sexy and enticing, less magnetizing, which means she's feeling that because it either comes off as intense or too jokey or like over the top. She's feeling that tension. She's feeling that lack of confidence from you, even though it's your dynamic together that's created that. And that just ends up with a big nope, right? And then your body goes, see, I knew she didn't want me. And then the brain gremlins come up. I'm not attractive enough. I need to hit the gym and work out, etc., etc., etc. That's the vicious cycle, and it isn't your fault. You just haven't learned how to read the cues. You haven't learned how to regulate your own system before you approach, and you haven't learned how to rebuild that safety before you reach. Good news is those are all learnable things, and they are what I teach inside the Roommates to Romance challenge. So here's the thing, right? When you leave this episode today, you might be like, yeah, I get it. I understand. I'll get to that later. And I just want to encourage you, right? Like that's your fear saying, maybe I'll feel more confident later. Maybe it will go over better later. But every day, every minute, every hour, whatever that you delay implementing these new kinds of strategies, the silence grows. Essentially, you want to think of it this way. The longer we stay stuck in this merry-go-round, the longer we stay stuck in this pattern, the bigger the shield is for both of you on either side. So the more quickly we start to take ownership for our contribution to the dance, the sooner we change our steps, the faster our partner is going to shift theirs. Because if we change the music, essentially, if we change, I wish I was like a dancer from the foxtrot to like, what's the other one? The waltz, our partner needs to follow suit or stop the dance. So if you want to learn how to decode these moments better, if you want to know how to use small intentional changes to like rebuild that trust, if you want to finally feel like a team together again, and especially if you want to know what to do with your rejection, and feelings of hurt without spilling them all over your partner, then you want to grab the Roommates to Romance Challenge. It's a 14-day reset that helps you rebuild safety, learn connection scripts, and lead with empathy, but like also leadership, with that grounded leadership without shame and pressure. And if you're a lower libido partner that's listening, it's something that you can do together, but also I made it for higher libido partners to basically take charge of the one thing that they can be in charge of, which is themselves, right? So we can't magically make your partner's libido come back. We can't magically ask her to change. We can't magically ask her to care, especially if we haven't done anything. But if we show up and take accountability for what we're contributing to the dynamic, then we can start to create change. Next week, we're going to go deeper into the heart of that loneliness with why dads feel rejected but don't know how to say it. I'm talking to you man to man. I'm not a man. I'm going to be sharing with you what I understand about what rejection actually does to your nervous system, why you shut down, and how to climb back out of it. Until then, keep choosing curiosity over pressure. Keep choosing connection over silence. And remember, you are not broken, my friend. You just need a better map, right? Nobody taught you how to keep libido alive through perimenopause and post-baby crazies. And that is what I'm here to do. As a reminder, as always, make sure that you follow and subscribe. It really helps make sure that the show reaches more people. Send it to a friend who needs to hear this message today. And always, you can always message me on Instagram if you have ideas for new episodes or things that you want to talk about. We'll catch you soon.